Who are these so-called imaginary friends who babies, toddlers, young children see and talk to? Are they really a fiction of their imagination, or are they someone who really comes to visit them and offer them a form of entertainment that we ourselves are not able to enjoy because we no longer see them? Who are they speaking to? Who or what are they seeing in front of them? How can they hold such a conversation for so long? And what makes them laugh and smile as if you were right in front of them speaking and playing with them? All these questions and more go on in the mind of individuals who witness such a thing. I myself have witnessed it growing up with one of my siblings, and I would wake up in the morning with his crib in my bedroom and see him, laughing and talking gibberish, sitting up facing the window, not facing me for waiting for me to wake up, or towards the door hoping my mom would come in and pick him up. No, he would face the window, which was just a little above him, as he was very little, about 8 to 9 months old, maybe younger, and would happily sit there and talk and laugh looking at someone. And I would lie in bed for a little longer to watch him and be still, so that I wouldn't interrupt him from his conversation. But I'd watch and just wonder, who is holding his attention like that? What's making him so talkative right now? Who or what is he seeing? Why is he so happy? And it made me smile in the morning, because it was such a cute and curious thing. We just put it off as an imaginary friend and nothing more. But looking back at that, he was he was just a baby. And sure, as we get older, we can create or imagine, a situation and pretend to be this or that and pretend to have conversations with someone. But how is that possible with an infant or toddler? We have to assume there's something more than just imagination, right? I mean, how can my little brother, under a year, still bald, chewing on everything he could get his hands on, barely walking on his own yet, make up a person in his mind who could hold his attention for that long and make him laugh? You just gotta wonder. Well, that's what I'd like to get into today. A possibility that imaginary friends could be real friends. Well, thank you so much for checking out our channel, Metaphysical Awakening. I'm Aya, and I work with my mom, Hitomi. We're both metaphysical practitioners, she and I, and we work, together, giving consultations, which we really enjoy giving. It gives us a sense of peace when doing so. Knowing that we can help others this way is a privilege in some sense. We can no longer live, the way we were living. Times have changed. Things are moving along faster at a rate we're no longer accustomed to. Many of us want to slow down in life and catch up, in a sense, to what's real among us and within ourselves. Many changes will be made in many people's lives, and the reason for this is because we're entering a time and space where things will no longer hold meaning to us, in the sense that our level of consumerism will dwindle. Our life will be based on necessities and necessities only. The economy of the world has changed to a level that we've never seen before, and this will cause many to have anxiety. But best be assured that we have also entered a time of spirituality too, one of which is seen differently from previous times, one of which is to be seen as to which or what direction it will take us. Will it take us back to medieval times when religious views have held such strict sanctions on people's lives, or a more free form type of spirituality where it will be, more about individuality and respecting each other for who we are? Or will it move toward a more scientific-based narrative where science will describe what spirituality really is and we move along with that? Time will tell, and in which direction we'll be moving towards. I, for one, move towards a free-flowing form, due to my line of work as a metaphysical practitioner and experiences from my personal life, the freer, the better, I'd say. The more we open up ourselves, the less restrictions we place on ourselves. Science can work with metaphysical aspects of our life when it comes to our metaphysical abilities. However, it cannot define what it is or who we are in just a complete paragraph. It's just not possible. There's more to it than you and I will ever appreciate. There's just a lot. Now, well, moving on to imaginary friends. So who are they, first of all? Well, I've concluded that they are in fact spirits from the other side. Why would I say this? Well, basically because I see them. Now, are there occasions when they aren't? Of course there is. Like I've stated before, children who are older may start to imagine a scenario or a person who is, their friend to occupy their time, or as, a way to comfort themselves. But in the case of my brother, for instance, that was no imaginary friend. He was speaking to a spirit, and not just one, actually, to a few who, come and go and would keep him company. They liked, making him laugh. He was quite a talkative baby. Now, could I see them at the time? No, not during, daylight, which is weird, but many who watch this video may notice that during the night, as you lie in bed relaxed and you look up at the ceiling, you see movement of what looks like a wave of energy, perhaps is the best way to describe it, but it lights up with iridescent lights, here and there, as if a flicker, in a cloud of energy that you see moving above you. Or perhaps you don't see color, perhaps you see movement of some kind. Well, this happens a lot for many people, even more so for children. They tend to look up, at the ceiling, not worrying about today, tomorrow, the next few days, and so on. They don't carry the amount of stress that adults typically do. So they're more aware, in a sense, to what's out there beyond the physical. They're more in the moment when examining these things. Do you have memories as a child, staring into the corner of your room, or, at the doorway from your bed, and you see a shadow or a silhouette of a person standing there looking at you while you're in bed? Remember how terrifying that was. Well, they could have just been looking at you and nothing more. But yeah, it's creepy. But anyways, when's the last time you saw or sensed something like that as a busy adult who has many things on their mind? Maybe not as often as when you were a child. As time goes on, we seem to fall or slip away from these, experiences and move on to more realistic terms and such, that you base your reality on the physical built around you. That's the adult thing to do, right? I mean, we have to be responsible for our actions in this mold that they created for us. So if we have to go food shopping, then we have to work or get a job. If we want to be a doctor or a nurse, we have to get an education, and so on. We have responsibilities. We have duties. But what if those responsibilities were not the same in another reality? I mean, what if we lived in a reality where we have time to work when we are ready? Food will always be provided, no matter what. You can educate yourself with whatever you feel is right for you. You can choose a career, and there's always work for you. You have no need to worry about any bills, because all those necessities are, provided. You just need to work when you're ready and contribute to society in some form or manner. Whether that's providing care to injured animals, or cleaning up the beaches, or providing a safe, space for children to run and be free, to explore and learn, and so on. Well, imagine you live in such a reality. Would you feel more relaxed? Would you feel more up to doing things that you wouldn't do now in this reality? Would you sense peace and tranquility? Would you have a sense of purpose? Would you ... You see what our reality does to us. Do you see why it's difficult to hold on to what you can't see? Reality doesn't give us the space or time to be in tune with who we are inside and out. We lose touch with the reality that exists beyond our physical world. It's there, it's within our reach, it's all around us and through us in a sense, because we ourselves are spiritual beings too. So it only makes sense that we can communicate with our family members and others on the other side. They are always watching over us, and they always have instructions and opinions, because they can see everything, they can sense everything. So yeah, if you have a new member of the family born into this world, would you not think that there will be family members and friends on the other side who would come to share in on the occasion? Of course they would. As one girl put it, she herself had an imaginary friend, which her family and others realized that weren't the case. She herself said, they are people too. She couldn't see them any other way. No matter what, the church said and preached, they are people too. And I can't disagree with her. They are no different from talking to you and I today. No different. Just a different technique is all. Now, a baby, comes into the world knowing only what their brain can conceive, which is why interaction with the baby in his or her environment is often necessary. It's a must. What the baby doesn't know and understand will often, confuse the baby and make, him or her frustrated, upset, perhaps sad, therefore, wants to cry and so on. So, you put on a happy face, you speak with an agreeable tone, or distract the little one with a toy, which will make for a pleasant baby. These techniques are quite simple, of course, but everything is simple in a baby's mind at that age. It's not until the baby gains more and more input or insight along with, understanding, that the baby's mind becomes more complex. It's like, looking at a blank space on a whiteboard, and you're filling it with more and more information, and soon that board, becomes more complex with problems and solutions and so on. However, their emotions may overpower the solutions that they have come up with in their mind, and they may scream and shout and cry till they're old enough to control or handle their emotions better, because the solution is right there, within their reach to access before their emotions take over. This is a phase in life when they interact with the world around them and interact and react, and so forth, until a foundation is laid for them as a basis for many things, like what not to touch, or what not to eat or put in their mouth, what not to do in an event of a such and such, and so on. Many of them, what not to do, but that's life. There are rules and regulations for all things, for our benefit at times. It's what keeps us alive much of the time. They can be lifesavers. Well, anyway, what they don't know how to do yet at that particular age in life is make up things, make up the world around them if they're not yet familiar with their own world. Make up individuals they do not yet know. They interact with their environment, nothing more. So when we see a baby interact with what seems like, thin air around them, just know they are interacting with what they see around them, whatever makes them happy and whatever makes them sad sometimes. Not everything they see, unfortunately, is shifting into shapes that entertains them. At times it can be big and overwhelming, from the eyes of a baby. At times what they see are, glittery, like sparkly shapes in the air, which entertains them. And this happens at times when I hold a baby. They don't look at me per se. They're looking at, the sparkly lights around my head or in front of my face and start getting excited by it. And this happens often. How many times have you yourself seen a baby or a child being entertained by something you can't see yourself? Well, it's a common activity that takes place. Nothing to be, scared of or worried about. Typically, it's a family member who had passed who, comes in and checks on the baby and see how the little one is doing. There may be other spirits who come and go, entertaining the baby. The best way they can is not to freak them out. Sparkly, glittery movement of lights usually does the trick. Now, as the baby gets older and learns to interact with people, such as their parents, siblings, relatives, and so on, spirits identify themselves as or show themselves as human beings, such as, we ourselves, and take that form of, take the form of what they look like, in their most recent life usually. If they take the form of another, like a famous celebrity or whoever, they're usually doing it for a reason or, for the fun of it, to add a little comedy or sense of humor to the occasion. But they come in as regular human beings, such as, you and I, and interact with a baby or a child that way, having, normal conversations and such. Now, can a child tell the difference? Perhaps so. Depending on the maturity of the child, what they know and so on based on their experiences. A child may know when others around them don't see their friend. Others may keep it, to themselves, worried about what their parents might think and so on. But they will interact with whoever they're with if they're around. They'll, if they're around, they'll see them. If they say something, they will show recognition by acknowledging them with, a word or a nod if they don't want others to know, that they see someone that others can't see. And if that's the case, the individual spirits, the individual spirit doesn't mind or take offense to it. They understand. They know what would happen if the parents realize that they see an invisible person in their midst. They would be worried if the child is going through psychological problems and so on. But, as they say at times, it's just a phase and it will move on like any other children. But is it just a phase? Well, let's discuss that a bit. Now, a child may eventually grow out of it, but what does that even mean in this case? Does it mean that they just forget about it and think nothing more of it, from then on? Or are they just out of that maturity phase that children need to experience at one time in their life? Or are they in need of this phase for comfort or understanding of some kind? Or are they just trying to figure out something at that particular time in their life that has to be, done through this so-called phase? Well, many questions can be raised in regards to why it happens, but it is not a phase if this is the case in regards to seeing spirits. It is not a psychological problem either. If you see it, you see it. If you feel it, you feel it. It doesn't make you crazy. It just makes you sense something others don't. And that doesn't make you nuts. It just makes you a sensitive person is all. You're sensitive to your environment. You see and feel things many people don't. And those that don't, you had at one time. Have you heard of the expression, you make my skin crawl? Well, there you have it. It's a sensation, a physical sensation that you feel within or out of you, and it's a reaction from something. That's your energy working on you as as a sensor telling you something about someone. Don't ignore it. Now, in regards to young children's, contact with spirits, it's only natural that they do it in a sense, in the sense of reacting to what's going on around them. They came into this world, with a clean slate, so to speak. They absorb the world around them and what they've taken from their parents and so on. But what of spirits around them? Well, they may have been told, there's no such thing at one point. But what does it matter to them? They're there. That's what or who they see. And there's nothing you nor I can do about that. But as they grow older, being more occupied with the people and activities around them, they tend to lose their specific ability to see and interact with them. Not all, but most. For some, it's left, such a huge impact on them that they continue to see them well into their adulthood or longer. But many, but many others, they no longer see them and moved on with their life, forgetting their experiences with their imaginary friend. But as for those who continue, know full well who they are and understand this aspect of their life. They know them to be individuals who have, passed on and are dwelling on the other side, but come and go as they please to keep in touch with them in this world where, their family members and friends are. We don't lose that attachment or bond with them as we ourselves pass on to the other side. Actually, it may be strengthened due to our time on the other side, understanding fully what had passed and seeing things from different points of views. Doing so gives us the ability to acknowledge certain elements, that we had not acknowledged before. We hope to do this to better help those who we left behind that may need our help, to move on in life. And that's why, they are around, constantly watching, constantly being aware of the situation, constantly helping. Without their help, we wouldn't be able to move forward often because some blows in life are difficult to overcome. As for babies and young children who, grow out of this phase, just know that if they had seen them before, doesn't mean the ability is lost forever. It's there. It's just dormant. Well, that's all for now, and I thank you so much for coming onto our channel, Metaphysical Awakening. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I'm happy to share this information with you. I will do my best to put together more as I enter a busy phase in my year, my life. There just doesn't seem to be enough hours in a day, but I'm having fun, and that's what counts. So I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are and enjoy some peace. Take some time, observing the world around you, and imagine it with people walking around, observing and watching others. People you don't, typically see with your physical eyes. Well, take care, everyone, and enjoy your peace and quiet. Bye.